I remember growing up, I would see happily married couples who looked as though everything was perfect in their lives. Out in public, they would always be smiling and taking family photos. Their kids always got what they wanted, and they had enough money to seem rich and comfortable. Overall, everything looked like a life that everyone should aspire to manifest in their own lives. This was how I saw marriage as a young 7-year-old kid, and I wanted it. I wanted it so badly that I became marriage-minded at such an early age. Now, I didn't know what marriage was, but how their lives looked compared to mine at the time made me come to the conclusion that marriage would be the best path to take if I wanted to be happy and have stability. Little did I know that it was all a facade and that those couples would all get divorced within 10 years. You see, marriage is supposed to last a lifetime, so I was baffled that the people I was going to model my life after ended up failing in their marriage. It's like those romance movies and rom-coms you see on television. People literally use those as the standard of what a real relationship should be without looking deeper to see the reality. You see, a song, movie, or television series have one thing in common: they were scripted and made to fit a particular narrative. So, in my opinion, modeling your entire relationship after something fictitious makes no sense. Eventually, I convinced myself that I was confident I could have a good marriage that lasted a lifetime, so I got a girlfriend at the age of 18, which is why I'm here on YouTube delivering this message. My relationship, which lasted 2 years, started out good, as all relationships do, and I thought that I would spend the rest of my life with this woman. Well, that didn't go according to plan. I got hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived. I needed answers and probably counseling with the massive L's I took in the time I wasted on my ex by the end of that relationship. This girl strung me along for 2 years without giving me her sweet sugary nectar. I didn't even get to push in the tip. That's how bad it was. So I needed answers, and what better place to look than on YouTube? Like many of you, I found the Crimson Capsule, and well, the rest is history. After I found the RP and learned why she punished me in a sexless relationship and used me for my attention, I started to reevaluate my decision to get married. Before that relationship, all I wanted was a loyal girl who wouldn't cheat, treat me with respect, and give me bedroom fun when I wanted. You see how simple that is, but many of our brothers today can't even get one of those requests. So I dug deep into marriage and weighed the pros and cons and the risks, and then, what I found out absolutely scared that living marriage-mindedness out of me. It was so dark that I decided I would personally never get married or make it a possibility. And today, I'm going to reveal the dark side of marriage that you probably never knew or thought about. So let's dive in and break down what marriage really is. To understand marriage, first, we have to look at the purpose of marriage and why the concept originated. If you are religious, you would realize that marriage was ordained by God so that people would live a monogamous lifestyle that would allow people to get the satisfaction they needed in the bedroom and to raise good kids. That is a simplified version of it, and if you look at it at face value, it actually makes perfect sense. If you had one person who would provide you with that primal need to get pleasure and procreate while having a family structure, it would probably lead you to live a righteous life and make better decisions regarding your finances, health, education, and so on. Marriage, if done right, has been proven to be more beneficial to both parties involved from a religious standpoint and worldly standpoint. Now that marriage is technically on life support, I want you to look closely at society and see if people haven't lost their way. We have more violence, STDs, poverty, broken homes, children with no direction, no more morality, free spirit culture, more hatred towards our neighbors, and the list goes on and on. So marriage with the influence of religion is very beneficial to people's personal lives and society. But if it's so beneficial, then why has it failed? Well, let's look at why it was pushed so hard in the first place, and you'll start to understand that it was all about money and control. I would imagine that the kings and royals needed a way to keep people in check while maintaining a healthy society in the distant past, so they decided to let men and women pair up, which would allow the men who could not get a woman to have a better chance at having a relationship and keep them from being a threat to society. They also incentivized the church, or whatever that religion was, to convince and keep people married by tempting them with the possibility of riches. If you didn't know, a church or any religious institution is run and maintained by donations. If you don't believe me, look at how a church keeps the lights on and allows the pastor to preach every week. It's with donations, or what is better known as an offering. So look at it like this. If a church wants to be maintained, it needs to steadily increase its members to continue donating to the church. What better way to ensure constant new members than having people married and pumping out kids? It is highly likely that if a religious couple gets married and has kids, their kids will grow up in the church, and eventually, when they are at the age where they can earn and donate to the church will keep making more money. Do you understand and see where I'm going with this? Without families, the church cannot guarantee new members who will be their cash cow. Look at modern churches today, and you'll see that most of them are struggling. And with religion basically dead in the United States, it is safe to say that it will only worsen over time. So in the past, this was why marriage and family were pushed so hard. It was all about controlling the people to build a functioning society and keep people funding the churches and the system. Now that you understand where marriage, particularly monogamous marriages, came from, I want you to realize something. Look at all the elite and religious people of the world. Whenever a scandal comes out, it is usually revealed that they practice everything but monogamy. Look at what you've heard the priests and nuns have done. Look at what the ultra-wealthy have done and tell me if they practice monogamous marriages. I can't dive into it because of YouTube, but I hope you get the point. You now know why marriage is important and why it was pushed so heavily in society. Now let's look at where it all went wrong. The degradation of marriage in modern times all started when people, particularly women, were incentivized to get divorced. Before that time, most couples would stay together because women needed support from a man to help take care of themselves and the kids. So when the government decided to give more power to the hands of the woman with no-fault divorces, child support, custody in favor of the woman, and spousal support, it was a wrap. This was what the womanist movement dreamt about, and the government knew that putting power in the hands of the woman would lead to chaos and destruction while lining the government's pocket with the man's hard-working money, and it worked. You must know that when you give women too much power, they often abuse it, and that is why today, the family court system is worth billions. This was all made possible thanks to unhappy women filing for divorce and separating the kids from their father for good and selfish reasons. With that one decision, modern-day marriages as we know it is dead with no signs of ever going back to what it once was. The actual victims of this system are the children and the good husbands who picked the wrong woman to get married to. Fathers have been stripped away from their kids, financially abused, and left to pick up all the pieces in their lives and hopefully rebuild. The sad part is the women who divorce their husbands rarely ever live a much better life after the divorce. They actually believe they have one after the divorce, but only when they are older and have to retire does the sad reality presents itself. If that woman cannot remarry, save up enough money for retirement, or have the kids take care of them, it is a sore tragedy for the last 30 years of their life. After looking at how women operate, this is the conclusion that I've reached. Most women never wanted to be under the control and influence of a man or husband in the first place. It was done due to societal pressures and because they needed someone to support them. Now that they have gotten their independence and marriage is seen as modern-day slavery, you can clearly see that they don't want to stay married or be under the influence and control of a man. And the more power they have, as a result, there are fewer marriages, a decline in the birth rate, an increase in divorces, and the boom of hookup culture. That is the reality that you have to come to grips with. Now that we have set up everything nice and sweet, let's look at the dark side of modern-day marriages. For most men who get married, you will follow some predictable steps that can be found on the Marriage Wheel by Coach Greg Adams. First is the connection phase, where you guys are in the honeymoon phase and each person is on their best behavior. Everything is going smoothly for the most part, and bedroom fun is very frequent. Then you proceed to form an engagement, plan the wedding, and get married. The next phase is the investment phase, where the couple decides to have children. This is followed up by buying a house and cars, spending money on family trips, school activities, hospital costs, and so on. The next phase is the bait and switch, consisting of the bait and switch. The husband works long hours, and the wife becomes unhappy and starts having affairs, marriage counseling, less bedroom fun, and no more BJ. The next phase is the disengagement phase, and this is where the divorce happens. Women will drag men to the family court, child support, counseling, alimony, and losing the house, kids, and assets. The last stage is that the man will re-enter the marriage wheel or go on his own way. If he remarries and re-enters the marriage wheel, he will likely get divorced again, which doubles the alimony and child support. That is the reality that most men will face who choose to get married in today's day and age. When we look closely at marriage, we have to ask, what is the benefit for a man to be in a marriage? There are little to no benefits today, which is why this RP space even exists, because men are failing in marriages and relationships and want answers. So let's show you more of the dark side of marriages that you will experience if you choose to roll the dice. Number 1 is emotional, financial, and physical abuse. When you get married, expect to deal with one or all of these forms of abuse without fail. If she nags, puts you down, emasculates you, instigates fights, gaslights you, talks negatively about you in front of people, tests you constantly, and so on, you are being emotionally abused. Physical abuse is self-explanatory. If you look at the Amber Heard trial, damn near all of these were present in their marriage, and look at what he had to go through. Financial abuse is a major one because your wife will believe she is entitled to spend all your money even if she makes her own money. You will be financially abused if you have a wife who cannot stop spending your money and believes that her money is her money and not the family's money. Number 2 is a sexless marriage. This is more common than you think, which happens to many men in marriages. A dry bedroom is defined as one in which the couple has not had relations or has had only extremely infrequent bedroom fun for a year or more. This happens to many guys, and married men don't talk about it. If you get married and the spicy nights and mornings turn into once a week, to once a month, and once a year, then you are in a dead bedroom. If she makes an excuse to not have bedroom fun with you, initiate or keep your bedroom health as a duty, you are screwed. Number 3 is loneliness. A lot of married men are lonely in their marriages. More often than not, your wife will put you dead last on her priority list. The wife will put you beneath herself, the kids, and even the pets. This is the reality of most marriages where husbands are neglected by the wife and kids. These husbands are viewed as just a paycheck, making many men feel lonely. Number 4 is not appreciated. Most women don't appreciate what their husbands do for them, and they will never appreciate what their husbands do in that marriage. A woman's motto is, "What have you done for me lately?" It will never be enough no matter what you do as a man, period. When last have you heard a woman genuinely be satisfied with what you do for them as a man? Guys, this happens in all marriages and relationships with women to an extent because women can't satisfy. Plain and simple. You can't make her happy no matter what you do. And lastly, no matter what you do, you're either not enough or a deadbeat. In the court of public opinion, whether you are married or divorced, you are a deadbeat if the mother says you are. You can never be a super dad without being made fun of or criticized, and if you can't provide for whatever reason, you're a deadbeat. So as a man, you can't win no matter what you do, and guess what? Nobody cares. Tap that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this message and subscribe for more RP content. We post daily videos on relationships between men and women, so if you can get us to 10,000 subscribers, that would motivate us to create more videos for your enjoyment. Comment down below if any of these things have happened to you or someone you know, and try to speak in code so Big Mommy YouTube shows us some love. Remember, marriage is a one-sided contract where only one person benefits.